Thank you. How hungry you are, guys. We are close to the lunch, huh? Lunch break, okay. Okay, so first of all, let me know if I'm too loud. I'm Italian, but in a Greek audience, it should work. So I don't want to talk about me. I mean, this is enough, but just to say that what I would like to discuss with you is a very, very practical experience about what I have done in quite a few years in some of companies, and some of them are working. How many of you is using Docker for their daily job? Okay, no worries, I'm not going to talk about Docker, so let's park it. Instead, I would like to talk about, we had amazing talks in advance of this. I mean, kudos to the organizer, because this is a perfect hook also for what I would like to talk with you, because I would like to talk about product engineer and the tensions that can happen. Honestly, how many of you are experiencing at least one time of tension with your product manager, with your people? I mean, someone is, hey, keep calm, hey, okay. So, this is the ideal state. I mean, when we talk about literature and what we learn about how beautiful and amazing is working in team, this is how we imagine to be a team. I mean, a perfect team working together. Sometimes it is true, but sometimes it's more a thing like this. It can happen, it's not always the case. Honestly, in my experience, again, I want to be very practical in this contribution. This is always I'm a former engineer, so I cannot avoid to be practical. Sometimes happen that you have some, not argue, but tensions. I mean, tensions. And the majority is not true. I mean, the 80, probably 90% of the time, you don't have any tension, everything is ideal, but it can happen that this is a thing. And I mean, the theory, the academic approach is very clear. I mean, there is, you have seen this many times. Probably this is the first thing, or at least this is the first thing that I usually share with my team when I join a new team or where I discuss my team. Hey guys, the distinction between a product manager, or at least the product people, and the engineer is very, very clear. A product manager, as a business people, is talking mainly about the why we are doing this, what we are doing as part of a product and an initiative, and the engineer are dealing a lot about the how and the when. And each time a product manager will talk about the how, then you should cut his hands. Sorry, this is a pretty direct and a very Italian way. And instead, if an engineer starts to talk about the why and the what, we should say, hey, stay in your angle and things like that. Of course, it is not always like that. But let's say often it works like that. And do you know why it works like that? And I would like to hear also your feedback on this. Because when we talk about the why and the what, this is the always reaction of an engineer. Okay? Have you ever been in a meeting where you have your amazing product manager on the stage showing thousands of slides with numbers, and the older engineer, after the third slide, start to act like this, okay? Please raise your hand if it's not true, huh? If you have a different experience. This is the face of a product manager when you talk about how amazing is a library or a technology, you know? We should use the latest technology instead of bothering people with the amazing thing that you can provide as a value. And the face of the engineer of the product manager is always like that, okay? Wrong button. So let me say, I don't think this is bad. I think that this is exactly a win-to-win approach where both the experience, both the people, the side. So it is like having complementary contribution to the problem. It is like being two sides of the same coins. One role of responsibility talking more about the why and the what, and another role of responsibility talking more about how to ship this and when to ship this. This is amazing. I mean, this is exactly how it should work. I do what I like, you do what you like, and this is perfect. Are we sure? In my experience, it is mostly like that. Again, I don't know you guys, but I see a lot of bothered faces during this kind of meetings where we create alignment. That is something absolutely important. I'm not saying that it is not important. We will touch more on this. But is it so ideal and trustful, this, complementary win-win approach? I don't think so. Or at least, in the majority of the cases, it is. But it is in the edge, where the fire happened, when the things are becoming a little bit more spicy. And in my experience, it is not necessarily in the middle between the what and the why, but it is more closer when we start to discuss somehow about the what to transition to the how, okay? In my experience also, because a lot of product managers, especially with less technical background, I'm working a lot in technical products. This is what I love. Most of the product managers, they don't have a technical background. So it's easy to challenge a product manager on the how because we don't understand. Instead, when we talk about the what and say, okay, guys, now tell me the how, this is where the things becoming a little bit more spicy, okay? Is it bad? Is it a bad thing? Well, it is a bad thing if it is toxic for an environment. I mean, let's be practical and concrete in something that happened to me in one of the companies I worked for. Oh, I won't quote names because I don't want to point the fingers on company and teams, blah, blah, blah. I want to share experience, especially if it is useful for someone. I remember a team of engineers saying, dealing with the designers, I don't want to use Figma. How many of you, Figma is a tool to create UIs, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how many UX people we have here. It's very used. It's amazing. No, I don't want to use Figma. It is not the tool for me. I'm not going to see the UIs there. This is not an approach that we should accept. This is not acceptable. At the same time, when we are in a team, I say, okay, I don't care about data. I don't care about the rules. My opinion is more important than the others. So this is what I want to do. This is not acceptable. This is a toxic approach that we should cut. We should break. This is not acceptable. Full stop. If it is toxic, it is a bad thing. Full stop. Instead, having a healthy tension between the parties is very much important because it creates simply the right things to do. It keeps the product manager, imagine an environment where a product manager steps in and say, we do this, and all the people, yeah, bravo! And it's the wrong thing to do because it's not the ideal product manager. Instead, if you challenge the product manager, of course, everyone works with ideal product managers like ideal engineers, not real, but we should escape from my opinion, it's better than yours. Instead, we should challenge the people to say why you are saying that, why you are saying that we should do this, or instead, why we are doing this thing, provide us data, evidence. We touched also in previous talks about that. And it is also a place where, of course, a product manager can test the feasibility of a thing. If I come into the team and I say, I want to create a rocket to go to Mars, like someone clever than us is doing, it's hard to say from an engineer, yes, I will do it tomorrow, because it will require decades to go there, of course. So the feasibility is also an important topic. So again, an healthy tension is, a good tension is healthy for the outcome, and it is creating a good compromise in a good environment to ship the right thing to our customers. So when this friction happens, and again, let's be clear, in my experience, this happened, but it's not the daily job of a product manager in a team, but it happens. And again, the hands that you raised at the very beginning tells a lot. When this friction happens, how to properly manage it. So let's go extreme a little bit on the 5%, 10% of the cases, because the majority is a collaborative approach. This is where I would like to share something with you that is also my experience. In my experience, not all the what are the same. There are more than one what when we discuss. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, it's back. Probably not screaming too much. There are many what. There are two what, in my opinion, as part of the conversation with the team. Not all the whats are the same. There is a more strategic what and there is a more tactical what. What is the difference between the two? Or at least what I see the difference between the two. The first, the strategic what, is a pretty high level what. I don't know how much of you, I think a lot of you are familiar with, of course, the agile principles, and also how the agile is connected to the organizational boards and things like that. So you know that we have the user stories and task level, then we have the epics level, but above the epics, usually we can have also some themes level. There is a superset. They're very vague, super high level. So we need to start, we need to start also the conversation about alignment and products also at a theme level. And this is where the what becomes more strategic. This is a perfect hook also on the first contribution from Melissa. Again, of course, this is very practical on a specific team and product. And this is very much about more a business value. Then there is the tactical what that is more about the epic level, is more practical because it lands also in something actionable, something that you're starting to understand how to develop, how to make it practical and concrete. In my opinion, the strategic what is less of a problem when we talk about engineering team. It is a first touching point, is used a lot to discuss about where we are landing in terms of things to do. And honestly, the majority of the time, the engineers say, okay, Francesco, this is good, but tell me something more practical that I can develop. You convince me about the why. Okay, fine. There are numbers, I'm bored. Now tell me what I have to do, because I prefer to talk about this. It helps a lot in creating alignment. Guys, if you step in, usually when a product manager step in a team of engineers and say, okay, guys, I know what we have to develop, or I know the strategy, it means that the product manager and the designers and the researchers discussed about this for months. And then when you come to a team, instead the team is the first time that he's hearing about this new thing to develop. And of course, the team wants to know exactly what to do, and they don't care about all the context. And sometimes the product manager is given for granted what he's doing. Instead, it's very important that alignment is done properly. And the strategic work is a good method to go there. The tactical what, for me, it's a little bit more spicy, because most of the time, in my experience, engineers are coming already with some ideas, of course. They are clever people. We work with clever people. And if you hear a story from a product manager, especially from a different perspective, that is different from what they are thinking, this is where the friction comes to play a little bit more. And honestly, let's be clear, engineers can have, most of the time when I work with engineers come to me and say, hey, Francesco, do you know that doing this, we save 80% of the effort and we reach a similar goal? What the hell, they're right. Most of the time, they are right. So the difference in points of view, in perspective, is very important. And most of the time, in my experience, it is done at the tactical what level, rarely at the strategic level, because strategic level is less of interest for the engineers. Another connection with the kitchen metaphor. I didn't add this, so these are original slides. So we have a perfect link and continuation. In my opinion, the strategic was is less spicy, so it's less a place for, maybe general concern, meh. Usually I hear some meh from the engineer on the proposal because of the new thing, and they don't propose this. They're not proposing this. Instead, here, I don't hear meh, I hear no, okay? It is a little bit more spicy. Okay, I can talk hours for this, and I would like to hear also your perspective, maybe after in a touch point. What the tensions look like? What we receive. We can have many tensions. No, I don't think this is true. I have full of data. I put some assumptions, some beliefs, of course, supported by data, or maybe if we cannot, as an assumption where to start. No, this is not true. So what we do, how we go ahead. Yeah, I know that you want to do this, but instead we should do the other way around. Okay? It's a good point, because maybe from a technical perspective, it's better to do the other way around. This is amazing. Something happened pretty recently, but I won't tell you if it's in Docker or on Spotify. One customer told me that they want to do something else. One time I talked to one customer, And she told me that she wants something slightly different. Okay, good. I have data with thousands or millions of customers, but one time he told you that this. It will be easier and faster to develop something else. Boom, straight to the point. I love it. When people comes to me with this, I say, okay guys, step back, let's roll back. I redo the entire strategy because this is a very good point. It happens that sometimes we try to use a technology communication channel. I want to use this library. We should use this framework, okay, to deliver which value, or the other way around. We need to provide this to the end customers. Okay, is it feasible? So we need to talk and be open about that. Let's go a little bit faster. So what to do when this happens? Because it happens. And again, we already discussed that this is an healthy thing to do. What we do in these cases. Okay. Now we enjoy, eh? So, I think it was Melissa saying empathy. I think this is a slightly different perspective, but not in opposition to that. Guys, we need to listen. We need to stay together. And most importantly, I will touch more. I don't want to spoiler the next slide, even if we are running to the conclusion of this concept. I mean, we are working in team. There are roles. There are open conversation. It's not about saying I am right, you are wrong. This is not the point. If someone comes into the room saying, I want to use this library, this is not feasible, instead of listening to the, to the emotional communication that can be wrong, and this happened on the engineering side and non-engineering side, is the same. I can tell you a lot of data, user research people coming with engineers say, I don't understand a word of what they're saying. Why are they talking that way? Well, because they are engineers, they are expert in that side. So we need to mediate a lot. And mediate is really something that should happen from all the perspective, PM, not PM, engineer, data, UX, blah, blah, blah. This is very important. Again, it's connected with the concept of the empathy that we were discussing. Sometimes, in a team, there is one role a little bit more leader and strong than the others. I have seen strong engineers coming into a place with maybe not a super leader product manager say, we have to do this, boom. Or another approach, again, this is again connected to the concept of product manager are not there to rule. Product manager say, no, we have to do that, boom. I know that you are attracted from the movement of the muscles. The result of this, in my experience, is a Frankenstein thing, okay? If a product manager comes to play with, I say that we have to do this, most of the time we miss the feasibility. And the outcome is easy. We don't meet the expectation of the business and we ship this after 1 year instead of when we plan to have the milestone or the deadline. If an engineer come to play, can happen, of course it doesn't happen always, but can happen that we miss the market fit. We develop a fantastic technology who no one wants, or at least there's no value to the end customer. Again, it can happen, not that it happens always. Or it can be that we miss the time to market because we ship this too lately. In case we say, no, let's do that, and I don't care about the feasibility and the technology, of course. So the Frankenstein risk, it is a real risk. So, again, we already mentioned this. Who is right? Who is wrong in this? Are the product managers the people who should rule? Are the engineering managers the people who should rule? Data scientists. Recently, I heard about the designers say, I want to transition to the product management because so I can rule and I can tell to the people what the things they have to do. And it doesn't work like this. This is the wrong question. This is the wrong approach. Let's be clear. if you approach this from every point of view with this mindset, you're going to create not tension, fire into this team. It doesn't work. If you're living in a company where this is the culture, there is something pretty big to fix. It doesn't work like this. It doesn't work the value. What is the magic value? We need to find the alchemy of a team, and we need to find the magic formula to work in team. And the magic formula, again, I heard the word empathy. For me, it's even more practical because it is about collaboration. And collaboration is something that it doesn't require a master of a boss. I don't care where it lives, in product management, engineering, whatever you want. Means hello? Okay. It means that we need to be open to listen, and this is valid for engineers, this is valid for product manager, data scientist, everyone, researcher. We need to have a little bit of a respect of the roles. Because if I, as product manager, start to talk about technology, there's something wrong. If an engineer start to talk about the amazing data and things, if they have real data, fine, but if they don't, I would like to see why they're talking about this. So how we can funnel this energy, how we can foster the collaboration. Again, I want to be practical on this because this is exactly what the team need. First of all, we need to provide extremely crystal clear of the roles and the responsibility. I continue to receive, especially from junior people or medial seniority, not only junior, but also medial seniority, questions like, Francesco, I don't really understand what's the role at the edge and of the product manager. Fine, I mean, this is not a silly question. Let's talk about it. Recently, I received a question, what a technical product program manager does into a team. Fine, it is not an easy question. We need to sit down and provide clarity on roles and responsibility. This is incredibly important. Again, also from an engineering perspective, I need to respect and I must respect your role and your expertise. And of course, I want the same respect in my roles and my expertise. We need to work in parallel teams. Do you remember when I was saying at the very beginning that engineers really care about the why? It's not a bad thing. Let's make the user research, the data scientist working on the why, and let's make the engineer working on the how in parallel. It works. It's complementary. It works. Let's go ahead on this. Properly communicate. Fluffy. What it means. In practice, I use a lot the technical three in a box. Three in a box means that each time a product manager or a data scientist, someone has an idea or is testing the market on something new, we need to close in a room with a tech leader and discuss and maybe other representatives of the various roles of a team and discuss about how we can do differently or better. Okay, so let's have some milestone to check the advancement of the tool of the project. Documentation. I am working now for Docker in a fully remote company. We have 400 people fully remote, all of them, all of us. And something that I find incredibly working, I receive many good feedback, is about providing information about what we are doing from a strategic perspective in a wiki, for example. We use Notion, but it could be whatever it is. I mean, this is something useful. It has been touched again in one of the previous talk. Evangelize in advance. We cannot pretend to jump in a room after months of work and say, since tomorrow we do this. We should let the people understand and come into the problem space. And in the previous talk, I heard something similar. It is about inclusion. We cannot pretend to go to the engineers or whatever it is and say, now, since tomorrow, instead of doing that, you do that. You need to educate them, or at least evangelize them the idea that you had a few months ago, a few weeks ago, and that they landed with data and with evidence to something that is a decision. We need to be inclusive of this path and not ask the people to do something that maybe they struggle to understand. At the end, the final goal of all of this is not to be right, but ship the right product to the right feature. I mean, I see this as a very big confusion in the action, practical action, daily action on everyone, I would say, you know, regardless to the role and responsibility. I want to be right. If I say something, we have to do this. This is not the point. We have to discuss and ship the right thing, not discuss about who is right or who is wrong. And this is very related to the openness, listening, flexibility, and mediation. We can call it collaboration. We can call it empathy. I don't know how to call it, but this is part of the same environment. Let me say, just to land to the end, and then I will let you eat something, and maybe discuss more about this. I would love to hear your experience. Who should do this? Who is the person, the role, who should drive all of this? Of course, this is not going to be one person effort. It doesn't make any sense. It should be, again, I was mentioning, if you have a toxic environment, you recognize because there are people refusing to do this. And you should face properly this toxic element, people, or context, it depends. Instead, but there is one person more responsible than the other in creating this environment. And this is the product manager. The product manager is responsible to set the team for success, okay? If the product manager comes to play, I do as I say, wrong sentence. If a product manager allows someone else to rule, is equally wrong. A product manager should help the team to set for success, because there is an important, it has been mentioned in the previous talks already, and this is very much important. We will see for the conclusion, because this is the summary of the message that I would like to share with you and the experience I would like to share with you, that in my, again, experience, the why and the how and the when rarely generates tension and frictions in teams. It can happen, but rarely. If you see some product manager coming to say, we should deliver first, it's not because they are arguing about how much time we need, it's because it's a requirement. Or if someone is saying you should use this library instead of the other to the engineer, there is something wrong in the responsibilities. The what is something that where I see the most of the friction, and we discuss about the strategic what and the tactical what. But the clever way to reduce this friction, to face this friction, is having a collaborative and open team relation. And in my opinion, the product manager is the person who should really guarantee and set the team for success from this point of view. Of course, also doing an example. Do you think it's easy? It's not easy at all. And do you know why it's not easy? Because it's about human being and the human relations, and this is the hardest thing that we can manage. But I would like to share something that is pretty a mantra for me. The business, of course, is important, but the business is shaped by teams, and the teams are done by people. If we fail in having the right teams and the right people and the right environment, we fail on the business as well. So having good teams and good relation in the team is the most important thing, and something that is really boosting the business. And this is exactly the message that I would like to share with you in managing the tensions between the various roles in the organization. This is one of the real team that I was working in Spotify, where you can see here people from the business, the engineering, the product, and things like that. Thank you very much.